if someone is doing a shoddy or shabby work, or if someone's work is not as per our expectations, or for whatever constructive feedback we have for that person, just out of the caring personally side of us, we are not able to exactly share what has gone wrong, and that has its own, repercussions. On the other axis is challenge directly. Then there are some of us who are directly blunt, no sugarcoating, no camouflaging, and directly we hit on what is wrong, and that more often than not maybe gets the results, but it spoils the relationships when we are directly just saying what we have to say. But a combination of these two, which is care personally and challenge directly, is the quadrant where the radical candor fits in. So it might be very interesting for us to explore the other three quadrants first and see where each one of us generally, in which, because it depends. It's not like we are, I am this quadrant person and you are that quadrant. It is more about in which situation do we resort to what kind of feedback style. So, Nakshita, are you there? Are you able to speak as well? Nakshita?
Yes, Hiral.
Am I audible to all
Yes.
now?
You,
Yes.
Nakshita.
Yes,
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 okay.
yes,
Okay.
Lakshita.
So,
Okay.
Nakshita,
Okay.
yeah, can you just explain, because there is background noise and I'll pitch in.
Okay. All right. Okay. So yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for having me over, and thank you, Hiral. Yeah. So we were talking about caring personally and challenging directly. So when we talk about caring personally access, it is not about, we say memorizing birthdays or names of family members, and nor it is about sharing some personal details of the life. Sorry.
Sorry? Sorry?
Should I continue if I'm audible?
Maybe.
Lakshita, you please carry on.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you so much. All right. So, as I was saying, caring personally is also not about, sharing one's personal life details or having a chit chat at social events compulsorily, but it's more about knowing each other at a human level, about learning, what's important to people, about sharing with one another what makes us want to, get out of the bed every morning and go to work. So, this is what caring personally we are talking about here. When we talk about challenging directly access, that is where we encourage each other to challenge, wherein we help each other build trusting relationships, which shows that we care enough to point out both the things, one, the things that aren't going well, and the other that are. And on the other side, we are also willing to admit when we are wrong, and that we are committed to fixing mistakes that we have made. So radical candor, giving the feedback, or maybe having candid conversations, guidance based conversations, honestly, not on the brutal side of honesty, but honestly. So this is what in brief radical candor means. When Heta, can you please change the slides? Can you have
Yeah.
one? Yeah, thank you.
Should I go on? Or
Yeah, yeah. No, no, no. Just one by one. Thank you. So, the first, here the quadrant that we say here, the fourth one, obnoxious aggression, wherein the person who sits in the obnoxious aggression quadrant is high on challenging directly but low on caring personally. Here we can say brutal honesty or front stabbing is in the picture. Yeah. It's a kind of praise that doesn't feel sincere, and maybe a feedback that is also not delivered kindly. So, for example, there's an IT company and there's a guy who's a software tester, and always it happens that
When
he's
someone's work is not up to the mark, and I shout out loud.
yeah. Uh, so basically, if that person says, in front of everyone that again and again you do this kind of blunder, so this is something which is obnoxious aggression. People shut down if we do that, yeah, and the defensive routines kick in. uh, and the critical feedback actually that when that goes unheard. So all that is the person remembers is the bitterness of the conversation, that I know that the person what he's saying is true, that I always make mistakes, but the way he says is always very rude. So the defensiveness happens and the reverse blame game starts. Heta, next please. Yeah, thank you. Ruinous empathy is the quadrant wherein we care personally too much, but we really hesitate to challenge directly. So it's like, it's kind of a praise that isn't specific enough to help the person understand what was good. And criticism on the other side is sugar coated or unclear. So it is, when we want to be nice to be people and don't challenge people, and it feeds ignorance. So even I know that person, that IT software guy is making bugs, is having all the times in this bugs in the software coding part, but still I feel that there'll be a day when he'll learn, and let him learn on his own. I really don't want to be bad and in front of him and say such bad things that every time this mistake happens and stuff. So it's sugar coated, and it feeds again ignorance. It may feel nice or safe, but if we look for the longer picture, it is quite unhelpful and even damaging in our relationships in the long term. So here I'd like to point out that when we are in the obnoxious aggression zone, at least we give the feedback, although not in a good way, but we deliver the critical feedback. Whereas in ruinous empathy, we just sweep it under the rug. We don't give the feedback at all, or have a conversation at all. So that is a total feedback fail. Yeah, Heta, next slide, please. Yes, manipulative insincerity. It happens when we neither care about people and nor challenge them. So it's like a kind of a backbiting thing, and sitting with a group of friends, and a person going by, and we usually poke and say, okay, this person always does this mistake, and kind of behavior that we showcase. So it encourages backstabbing, passive aggressiveness behavior, specifically. And Kim Scott, who's the author, she says that it is the worst to give worst quadrant to be in, because people give praise and criticism that is manipulatively insincere. Yeah, and it's people are too focused on being liked, or think that they can gain some sort of political advantage by being fake. So we neither care nor challenge. Yeah, Hita, next please. Thank you. Yeah, and here we come to the sweet spot of our book here, that is the radical candor. Here we care personally and we challenge directly in a balanced way. We help people grow in a positive, caring way, and of course that takes guts and compassion to do that, to be that in that balanced position. So it means pushing others beyond their comfort zone without being disrespectful, and solving tensions in a healthy way. Yeah, Hita, next please. Yeah, you can. Yeah, so a brief of each description is here. Like, yeah, radical candor requires not just caring but showing that you care, and being equally clear what is going right and what is going wrong. And it is uh, it is giving feedback in an humble, helpful way, immediate feedback rather than the delayed feedback in person, to be to praise the person in public and to criticize in private, and do not personalize the thing. Yeah, uh, Hita, next slide. When we talk about obnoxious aggression, it is being the workplace jerk. So sorry for the word, but yes, what we call in our professional terms, it's that actually better than not giving feedback at all. Yeah, Hita, next please. Yeah, manipulative insincerity. This is as we just discussed. It's comparable to the middle school behavior, and it's the absolute worst, wherein we don't say confront each other, and we just backbite each other. So yeah, of course, not to fall in this zone at all. And Hita, next please. Ruinous empathy, just wanting to be nice and too scared to confront. So radical candor is our sweet spot. Yes, Hita, next please. Okay. So, as we saw all the four quadrants, each quadrant requires a little bit of change from our side to come into that radically candid zone. So for example, if I'm obnoxiously aggressive, I'm too clear about the point and I'm being very straightforward. So for that thing I need to be just a little more kind. When I'm manipulatively insincere, I need to be both kind and clear. Ruinously empathetic, I'm way too much kind, but I need to be more clear. Same way, if we see on the other side, we need to be specific and sincere. So when we are in the obnoxiously aggressive zone, again, we are very much sincere and very much focused on pointing out the mistakes, letting others know, shouting in front of everyone. So a little more sincere and a little more disciplined way is required. Talking about the manipulative insincerity zone, both the ways, we need to be more specific and more sincere. Yeah, and when we talk about ruinously empathetic, we need to be more specific as we are too much in our sincerity zone as such. So, understanding what radical candor is, basically, what we say is these are the behavior types and not the kind of personality type. So, we are not labeling each other here that he's being specific, he's being sincere, or he's being obnoxiously aggressive, or he's quite empathetic. Here, we are just trying to understand that we are falling into one quadrant or another at specific times, at specific situations. So it'll depend from context to context and situation to situation. Also, it will depend from person to person. So, uh, very correctly, the author has mentioned that these are not labels, these phrases. It's just a framework, a compass to guide our conversations to a more productive workplace. Yeah, Hita, next slide, please. Yes. So we are always in that zone of being right. So again, when we are in the obnoxiously aggressive zone, uh, we are proving ourselves in front of everyone by demeaning the other person. So here, that being right wala thing is there. When we are ruinously empathetic, again, we don't want to look bad in front of a person or others. So here again, that thing comes. But radical candor focuses on doing the right thing rather than being right. So it specifically focuses that taking feedback in a way that first we are vulnerable and then let others give a space to be vulnerable and share their weaknesses and their problems. Yes, Sita. Yes. So, directional talk, which is positional, like from authoritative figure, straightforward way, uh, and of course, it invites submissive and defensive behaviors towards us. If probably here, since we are talking about radical candor, whose tagline is being a kind boss, of course, uh, and giving it a touch of an humanity and embracing humanity. So, not inviting submissive and defensive behaviors, talking in a way that someone can easily approach us, being in that a little friendly and a little professional zone. So, of course, not being too high on our pitch, and not being just being quiet and not sharing things. So a balanced way of talking and discussing and empathizing a little. So it requires dialogue, a shared conversational space, which of course beautifully brings in the transformation that is required in a person and in the workplace. So it's that kind of an relearning process for both the parties at the same time. So moving from the directional talk to the dialogue space. Yes, Heta, please. Yeah. And radical candor brings in the growth, as we just saw, the transformation that is needed, because obnoxious aggression will feed in defensiveness, and the person will of course not be willing to hear us, and there'll be a little change, and the cycle continues, and we stay of course where we are in terms of our relationships. When we talk about manipulative insincerity, there is we are sowing the seeds of mistrust, and there is no change. Because if I'm talking about somebody, maybe with my other colleagues, or if I'm a boss and I'm talking about somebody and he's looking at me and he's having a sense or a feeling that, of course, I'm probably talking about him or her, which is something bad, and he's having a sense. So there is a mistrust, and of course, then it'll be difficult to trust each other, to have each other's opinions, considerations, and then we just work our ways. So there's no change, no clear change. Coming to the ruinous empathy part, we feed ignorance. I know again that my colleague is not actually making the reports that are sent to the clients correctly, but I'm just in that hope that okay, someday she'll know how to do it, or someday she'll know how to talk with the client and be polite. And I'm just not giving feedback, so that is just ignorance. And I want to be just be good to her and look good. So we'll feed ignorance. And in the radical candor part, of course, I am. Having this picture of profound change wherein I am talking in a way that I'm caring personally and challenging at the same time, and the person feels that I'm sincerely concerned about his or her growth, and about me also being vulnerable at the same time. Okay. uh, And I really like to know here that how many of us can relate with the ruinous empathy style of feedback, wherein we can't share exactly what we feel. Uh, Responses are welcome, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Hiral. Thank you, Lakshita. That was a very, very powerful session. You made
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, Anil, I am yet to complete.
She's
Okay.
yet to complete, Anil.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, go
yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
I've just a question here, that how many of us relate to the ruinous empathy style of feedback? Because we just don't say it. We just don't want to make the other person feel bad about the feedback or about some uh, you know criticism that we want to deliver. So okay, Ankit says it's situational. Okay, thank you. Okay. And I'm sure that we would have noticed a lot of people with maybe in our respective organizations, or that wherein the defensive routines kick in. Depends on the person. Thank you, Anupama. And Gangadhar says also culturally dependent. Yes, both sides. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Yes, Hita, next slide, please. Yeah, creating a culture of open communication. Individual nature. Oh, thank you. Yeah, 6 ways to roll out radical candor like a boss. Yeah, Hita, please. Okay. So share your stories with your team and tell your feedback stories to them. Yeah? Telling our stories to our team. So if a specific colleague of mine in the same situation, maybe an embarrassing situation in front of a client, and something has gone wrong, which I had been before. So me being vulnerable in that authority figure to him or her will definitely ease things out. Like, personal stories will explain better than any management theory. Yeah. And show and show why we really mean it. That's why a lot of personal stories work. And definitely they'll mean people will be able to relate with the stories, real time stories. Yeah, Smita, next please.
Yeah, this is where I'd also like to add that when we are as bosses, when we are very vulnerable to accepting that yes, we also have flaws, and that how we improved upon ourselves. This is something that really works when we want to give constructive feedback, because we are not saying we are perfect and you are not. So that is where personal stories come in.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Soliciting feedback. Prove you can take it before you start dishing it out. So, uh, especially criticism, soliciting guidance, especially criticism, is not something we do once and just check off our list that okay, it is done. But it has to happen in a little 1 or 2 minute conversations. And it is not something that has to be added in the calendar or in meetings. It's something that is not coming out of the schedule. It just happens, whether we are in a tea break or in a coffee break with our colleague, or just we are meeting for a minute for having some discussion on any report or anything, or any client. So it feels strange at first, but once we get in a habit, it'll not feel weird to do it. And creating a culture of guidance, so that all the burden of feedback doesn't fall on the shoulders, on our shoulders, on others. So if we start dishing it out, it'll probably help others to do the same. So soliciting criticism and feedback. Yes, Sita.
Yes.
Having career conversations. So, in order to build a great team, there's a need to understand what motivates each team member, and how each person is fitting in each of his or her life goals. So, the most important thing that as bosses or as leaders or as team leaders, maybe we can do is understand the growth trajectory that each team members wants, and matching the needs and opportunities with the overall objectives of the team. So, the first important conversation here that we can have is learning what motivates each team member, what they value, the things that drive them, their life story, basically, learning and spending time to know that. Second is understanding uh, where someone want to be, like what is the pinnacle of their career, their dreams, their actual life dreams, not that dream that after 5 years down the line, where do you see yourself? We are not talking about that dream at all, the actual life dreams. And the third and most important part of the conversation is planning for the present with a career action plan. So having the present in place and the career and mapping it side by side. Yes, Nita, please, next. Perfecting our one-to-one conversations. So uh, this one-to-one conversations again is not that the calendar meeting conversation, but it's over periodic lunches. And for example, if me as a boss and my direct report like to walk, and there's a good place to talk or to take a walk near the office, uh, having walking meetings, that culture. If I'm a morning person, I would like to schedule it in the morning, so that one-to-one conversations, that we need that energy dip at 2 p.m. 2 p.m. usually, right, in the lunchtime and afternoon. So specifically not scheduling at that time. So this is something that matches our time, our energy, our mindset, and our that free feeling factor to talk. So maybe uh, going together to the gym. So if I'm going with a colleague and we have the same gym, so that time we can have a one-to-one conversation. So this is perfecting our ongoing one-to-one conversations that happens casually, informally. Yes, Aita, please.
Yeah.
Yes, Gangadhar. Out of office meetings are more effective to drill a point. Thank you so much. Give guidance, but make sure to focus on the good stuff too. So, so we are being radically candid, but there might be someone who has not just heard any criticism at all, or you know, another may have heard it as being very ruinously empathetic, and the other person would be quite aggressive. So there is a need to adjust as per the individual requirements, and to change to become that specific and that sincere where and as and when needed. So as someone rightly said before, that it depends culturally and situationally. uh, so we need to be self-aware and rationally and culturally aware as well when we roll out this in our organizations. Yes, sir. And last but not the least, take a deep breath and assess where the situation is. So how's it going? How's my guided conversations going? What is working and what is not working? So if it is not working, then whom can I talk to? Can my superior or can my boss help? Or I need a mentor or a coach outside of work. So analyzing it, pausing for a moment and then again getting on to that. So trying new things, practicing, and taking a pause, and again adjusting to the situations, and flowing with that guided conversations is something that we're talking about. Yes, Sita, please. Yeah. So beautifully, Kim Scott analyzes in a book that radically candid conversations should be in an HIP way, which is helpful, humble, immediate, in person, in public. I mean, of course, praise in public, and not at all personalized. Yeah. So even we are having that care personally wala factor, it should be balanced in a way that it is challenging directly and we are caring personally at the same time. Yes, Eta, please. Yes. Yeah. Yes, Eta, can you change this time? Yeah. So beautifully it was written that, we are not here to crush someone or to defeat someone. Eta, next, please. Yeah. We are here to build each other and build the organization. So I'll just take a last quick minute, and I'll just say that uh, a beautiful two-line summary would be that uh, Kim Scott has beautifully shown that, and of course has given a lot of practical examples in the book, a lot of tools and techniques. These are just some of good highlights of the book, that to deeply care about your team to the extent that you really want to provide sincere good as well as bad feedback, as you recognize it's everyone's best interest to learn about people's dreams, what motivates them, and build meaningful goals to help them achieve the dreams. So this is what Radical Candor is all about. Thank you so much. Yes, Hiral, over to you.
Thank you, Lakshita.
Thank you.
And thank you, everyone. I know this was not one of the best presentations that we've made, but a medical emergency came along, and this is the best that I could do in the given circumstances. And I really thank Lakshita and Heta for supporting me at the last minute. So, this is one concept that we have found to be very useful, crisp, and if we have the willingness to show the care by sharing what we actually want to share, without worrying about how the person will feel, because the person already feels cared for. We have seen that a lot of our corporates have benefited from this concept, and they have shared with us in the next session that, ma'am, I tried this, I took personal interest, I heard their story, I shared my stories, and at the same time, with the data, facts, and figures, without being judgmental, I was able to share what exactly was on my mind about the performance, and especially performance reviews during this COVID times. So we thought we'll just share this small little concept with all of you, and we thank all of you for bearing with us for
Thank you
this.
so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Lakshita.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thank
Heta.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hiral. Thank you, Lakshida. Thank you, Heta. Uh, it was truly wonderful. What you have conveyed a New Year message. Any challenge can come in between, but you need to be prepared to take it on. And we truly appreciate the teamwork that you put it over
I know
here.
you're being nice, but thank you so much.
And we truly love that never giving up attitude. And another message which I can draw in, like, don't try for the perfection. We are all human. There may be some kind of a challenges can come in between, but we need to take it on. When attitude is right, everything shall follow, no matter what others think about you. It is just what is in your head. Wonderful, Hiral. You taught
Thank you.
us impossible is just an opinion. Anyhow, great, wonderful. A radical candor, as everyone knows, I mean, as everyone heard over here, it's a simple idea. To be a good boss, you have to be a care, you have to care personally. At the same time, you challenge them directly. We truly loved that hip approach. And what I thought in
I'm so
between,
glad.
that
Thank you so much.
the Dale Carnegie approach of MMFI make me feel important. This is what the underlying fact of that book. Anyhow, once again, Lexida, Hiral, and Heta, you have done a wonderful job. So I guess we are a bit running late. So without taking any, people in between to talk, I would like to move on to Dr. Joseph Thomas, for which I would like to invite Anil Thomas.
There was one opportunity where in a meeting, it was
Please, Anil sir, go ahead.
Yeah, Hiral, thank you for that commitment. Your commitment and your friendship and the teamwork together, it's really commendable. And coming to Dr. Joseph K. Thomas, is a successfully attempted many roles in his life: an army veteran, a corporate leader, an educationist, and social entrepreneur. He's a soldier by choice, an engineer by profession, and educationist by passion. Dr. Joseph brings different experiences and expertise from multiple domains, starting from the army, multinational companies, educationalists, and social entrepreneurship. He's the recipient of numerous awards, 5 international awards for his service and contribution to the field of education and philanthropy. He was conferred with the Global Goodwill Peace Ambassador Award, Mahatma Gandhi Award, Gem of India Award, Emerging Educationist of South India Award, International Achievers Award, Mahatma Gandhi Leadership Award, and Kannada Rajyotsava Award. Welcome on to eBookery platform, Dr. Joseph Thomas.
Thank you, Anil. Thank you. It's wonderful to be here, and thanks for your introduction. So I'll get started. I know we are getting a little behind schedule, but I try to see that I will make it. Okay. So, all right. So, good evening, everyone. So, distinguished panel and the people in the Zoom call from India and UAE. Also, Dr. Preeti Vincent and Geeta ma'am were my principal and vice principal from Mysore School, who also joined the call, so appreciate that one. First, let me thank Anil, Mr. Anil, for inviting me for today's eBookery show. In fact, he invited me before, even the last session, but unfortunately I missed it because of my prior commitment. But the good thing, Anil didn't leave me. And all I can say is Anil's patience and perseverance paid off, and I couldn't say no to him again. And honestly, I'm super excited to be here today. Thank you, Mr. Anil and Niaz, for this opportunity. All right, so before we get started, so let me wish everyone a very happy and healthy and very prosperous new year 2021. I know many of you waited for this moment of when we'll start 2021. For the obvious reason, we are all went through enough in last 10 months, right? And I'm also hearing a lot of songs and posting in social media about the four-letter word about 2021. They want to get rid of 2020, and they want to start the new year. Well, for me, 2020 was, let's not forget, everything for us is always learning, and letting go is an opportunity if it's not, in terms of looking at the negatives of 20, so it's not going to help us. So for me, it's again a chance of, if you look back of overall 2020 experience, it gave us a chance to work on our strengths and over our weaknesses. And it also induced fear in us. A lot of people, the fear of losing job, the fear of losing your health, and the fear of losing your own loved ones, right? And this made us realize the value of family. I think as people, we as a family, and that also, because otherwise people are always generally busy or unnecessary things, pretending to be busy but not really busy, right? So that's a typical thing, and we used to take things for granted, and that's very human tendency. And this pandemic helped us to realize, to appreciate the small things. And we also learned the patience, and I'll say empathy, minimalism. I think minimalism is very important because we really don't need too much. We all survived the challenges, we have thrived, and we have adopted like never before. And some of us even healed from the personal tragedies. For me, it's a great lesson, and every lesson is a great teacher. And by just changing a calendar, things will not change. For me, life changes only when the mindset of the people changes. And the changes mindset of stop hating 20 and let's replace it with, okay, learned a lot of things in 20 and I've grown as an individual, and let's enter with this gratitude, right? And when you have gratitude, and that generally they say it tricks your brains, and that puts a lot of abundance, and that abundance helps us to focus on what we have rather than what we don't have. I think again the human tendency, right? And these are the things, and I see this taught us in last 2020. Personally, Anil, for me, this is and professionally and personally a great year for 2020 because I always wanted to write a book, but didn't happen for various reasons, right? And the shutdown and the pandemic helped me to concentrate And then I wrote an article in the Times of India in the month of June. And it also published in Hindi, Navbhat Times and Naya Dunia and Dainik Bhaskar and some other Hindi newspapers. The same article, same name with the title, India, the Next Superpower. So I got a lot of positive feedback on the article, and even some of my friends said, "I think it's such a great topic. Why don't you write an article? It's just not enough. It's just a brief about the thing, and you need to put into context. So why don't you make it a book?" And then next week, and I'm talking about the first week of June somewhere. Then the 20th June, the Galvan Valley incident happened. That's a very big thing for me, because and that's also one of the put the seed on for me to, okay, it's the time to start. And the India and China relationship, whatever was happening in the time, and it was not something great. And for me personally, whatever we are hearing in the news or in the TV channels and everything, I know most of the place it was not a right reporting, because I personally know what they're talking about. I've been to this place because, especially my last 3 years, I was in Kargil, Leh, and Siachen. So I was part of Kargil operations. And after the Kargil, so all these places what we captured, I was in charge from the army to install the satellite links, all the places. And I exactly know what is this Galvan. And I'm sure you must have heard the place called DBO, which is Daulat Beg Oldie. And so we installed, and I personally installed a VSAT there, that particular point. And I'm sure if you think about last 6 months back, people are reporting and talking about they're reporting from ground zero, and the reality is they're all report because it's out of bound for everyone. There's nobody was in that particular place, right? People are sitting in those dragon hotels on the terrace, and every mountain looks the same, and they're talking about Galvan Valley. So this is one incident. So I thought sometimes it's important for us people who are part of this journey to capture this incidents, capture this real story for the larger audience. And that's also a reason why this article converted into a book. And so you can say it's the small attempt by a Kargil army veteran to place the facts before the public to see, okay, what really happened. And when we talk about India, the next superpower, so, and this is my book I'm talking about, India, the Next Superpower. And if you see the subtitle, that's called Tame the Dragon and Unleash the Tiger. Dragon is, of course, China. And tiger is, of course, our national animal. So initially, my subtitle was Kill the Dragon. I think very typical army style, that's exactly what I felt after Galvan. So you need to do that one. But I thought sometime, when you write a book, that spirit changes. I felt instead of killing him, it's better to tame him. If you tame the dragon, you can control him. And controlling China is fun than you're finishing them, right? And so that's where India can really still prove. And I also want to bring people's attention to some of the I'm sure typically happens in India, right? So anything happens to India and Pakistan, what happens. Even we lose India in a cricket match. And of course, this Chinese people started burning and throwing Chinese products, and they started destroying Chinese thing. But I think it's funny. I noticed once in Delhi, a lot of people in Volvo SUV bringing all this Chinese mobile phones and started destroying it. And let me remind all of you, the Volvo is originally a Sweden company, right? That's a car from Sweden. But currently, Volvo is owned by a Shanghai-based Chinese company. If you really want to, instead of destroying the 2000 Chinese mobile, you put fire onto your Volvo car. Then I'll say, okay, you're talking some sense, right? It's a very typical double standard. I'm sure you must have even realized some of these noisy news channels sitting and warmongering. And one of the famous channels was started talking about anybody buys Chinese product, they're all traitors of India. You go back, we'll send them to China. And now guess what? What happened? After every program, there's a commercial break. And what comes? Who's the sponsor? Vivo Mobile. MG. Who is Vivo? It's a Chinese company. is sponsoring this program, and this guy is talking about, people buying Chinese products are all traitors. And MG is a Morrison garages, it's a famous UK brand car, but today it's owned by a Chinese company. What are you talking about, right? This is the reality of, this double standard. And I felt it's important to capture these points for people to realize, don't get carried away with all these people who make this noise. All right, in the real context, that's not the reality. And so don't go behind those poor people with a Chinese phone. Okay, so you get sponsorship. You're getting millions of dollars sponsorship from China, which is fine. But you want to call those people. I think these are the points you see in my in the book. So when you talk about India, the next superpower, so anything with the superpower, it's important to understand. And we are talking about 5 major elements. So what makes a country superpower, and who are the countries a superpower before, and how I'm telling you this is. I know this is a very ambitious, and expectations, or is a aggressive statement to say India the next superpower. But it's important to understand when you talk about these aggressive statements. So Indians are an ambitious people, right? And I'm very sure, and I have data to show that India can be, the next superpower. If you go back to the history, right? Let's say around 200 years, in the 17th century, India was the richest country with 27% of world GDP in 17th century. Not just India's GDP I'm talking about. I'm talking about world's GDP. That means India was not a poor country, except our history books are never captured that India as a richest country. Rather, they captured India as a poor country, right? And you also know that a lot of this Western media shows India as India as a country of snake charmers, cows sleeping on the road, or people are in slums. And unfortunately, they don't see, for like IITs and IIMs and the HAL of the world, or DRDOs, and where India reached today. These are all things. And some of the modern historians are always they're close to the British Empire, because it's important to keep them happy. So they want to write what suits them rather than putting the right perspective. So when I talk about superpower, India was the richest country. That means we already have a data to show, and we are not a poor country. But yeah, of course, after 200 years of British rule and exploitation and organized loot and plunder, we reduced 90% of Indian population to the Zero Poverty line. And when this British left India, we were only 17% of literacy rate, and our 27% GDP was gone to 4%. So of course, as a proud Indian, I'm a part of this journey of India's independence after 47. We are witnessing a transition from a poor country with illiterate people to a young, vibrant human capital, world's largest democracy with economy. So I think people have we realize from 90 onwards, that India has actually spiraled like a phoenix from the ashes in the last 7 decades, and undoubtedly we can be the superpower. But you will not make superpower overnight, and that's a caveat, right? So there's a lot of structural changes we need to bring into the system to make sure how you can make this India superpower. But you know that, let's say, at the British, UK was just a very small island country. But 17th century, and when they got into technology innovations, so what they got initially steam engines, textile mills, and that's how they got an innovation. So they're able to use this technology to build military power. When they had a military power, so they're able to conquer, they're able to go and get those countries, and I think capture all the places, and that is how they expanded British Empire, and it was world's one of the largest British Empire too. So 17th century. But the history also taught us, there's no status quo. You can't be superpower forever, and so that's industry revolution of one, which took advantage of technology UK. But industrial revolution of number 2, industrial revolution, US took advantage, because till the time there was no electricity. So they found electricity, they got into the new technology, and that's how, based on those revolutions, and the US took over from the UK. And that's a kind of industrial revolution too. So then industrial revolution third started. So that's where is part of our generation. We saw the computer software, all the technology what we see today, it's all the part of thing. But currently what we're going through is industrial revolution 4, which is nothing but an artificial intelligence. I think anything and everything in the world tomorrow is going to be managed by artificial intelligence. And so how it makes a difference, right? So you already can see witnessing so for example, I think India is also into artificial intelligence, but most of this artificial intelligence didn't come from as a country per se. It's all come from new technology companies in the US. You call Amazon, Google or anything, right? You Google something, for example, a book, and you'll see on your right screen, so in a couple of days, you see a lot of references, a lot of advice for the new books. You search for a golf, you get a lot of about the golf. You look for a watch, you get a lot of watch. So what it shows, because even today, whatever you do, it's nothing called privacy at all. Every actions, even in your thinking in your mind, the algorithms can recognize what you're looking for and they start pushing you. And that is how you see this particular people see this different ad on the same screen. Two people see two different things. It depends on what you're looking for. That means, and and that's how is already reached. And today Russia is 30% of Russian military is managed by AI, artificial intelligence managed robotics. And then of course in China. So Singapore is the first country in the world they implemented AI into economy, right? So and we are talking about India is already in getting into the place. India, the way we did fantastic job in software, it also shows that India can be in a big market in AI because this is the market for the future. And we are talking about 1 trillion economy. So when you say 1 trillion of AI, so even 15%, it comes to I think get your the push for the next thing. And so India can play a major role in like renewable energy and retail and manufacturing. There's a lot of places. Once you implement AI, that's where I'm talking about. So typically technology is the future, and as long as whoever plays it good, any country who going to play a major role in technology, especially in AI, and they can definitely make a difference in as a superpower as a country. So I want to give you back to the background of why I started and writing on this book. And it's also important to give a little bit of background of I think what happened. So I'm sure many people know this one. British were here for 200 years, and they almost looted an amount of $45 trillion from India in the last 200 years of time. Let's put 45 trillion into context. We are talking about almost GDP of 20 countries, of the top 20 countries. Or you can say around 25 times of Amazon, or you just name it, 30 times of Microsoft. That size of the money they looted. And even people go to London, and London is a beautiful place, there's no doubt. And next time when you go there, when you click the photo, click with the pride of, okay, this is my money, this is my ancestors' money, this is the money and the blood of a people. They build these museums and castles and Buckingham Palace. It didn't come from nowhere. They looted from India. That is how they built all this in the UK. So you should be proud of seeing, okay, those things belong to India. It's not, okay, they are looted and they build it. But the beautiful thing, after 70 years, we are number 5 top economy in the world, and the UK is number 7. And look at how the world changes, and things changes because India adopted to the new things, and definitely our manpower, our resources, our education that help us to put where we are today. So that's overall about the background of this book and how it captures. And I also want to talk about a little bit on the what do you call, let's say what's interesting thing next. Okay, let's say when you talk about 5 major components of economy, superpower. So definitely military is part of number 1, economy is number 2, technology, cultural, all these 5 elements put together make you a superpower. So, and in my book, I extended and I wrote on the comparison between India and China. and how, and I, because of my previous corporate job, I've been maybe around 50 times to China, and I'm amazed the way China has developed last 30 years, especially on infrastructure. I'm a big fan of those infrastructure. But the question is just by infrastructure, and because it's a today world's factories of the world. But again, and pandemic is also an opportunity for India to take advantage of the situation and bring those companies back to India. And we have everything. And I think the beauty of India is we have everything under the sun. All you need is small fine tuning of our system in place, our structure in place, our political willpower in place to make sure companies come invest in India, and we can definitely manufacturing the biggest component of now thing. So whatever happened today, I think that pandemic or whatever you call that, it is not a biological now virus. It's an engineered virus. It's manufactured virus. Because one reason China is still not able to justify how the hell they are able to control this virus only in Hubei province or in Wuhan. It's just one district, and then compared to 200 world countries of the world is suffering even now. What is that magic, right? So they didn't spread to China as a whole country, right? It's but 200 countries even today we are suffering. So and they're the first one to get the medicines done. Though they didn't declare it, because they know, because when you engineer it, you know what's going to solution for that one. So the overall Chinese sentiments has changed. So it's not too far when UK or like US, the biggest customers for Chinese product, right? They stop buying. What's the point of your manufacturing everything? Because your manufacturing, your economy is depend on your export, and if the people don't buy from you, and your export not going to bring any money there. And that's where, but the goodwill of India is much better, because we are democracy, right? And that's where we need to see. And a lot of people ask me this question about, and it's a very curious question, right? Like it's like a cricket match between India and Pakistan. There's a lot of people. There's many factors behind this cricket match than really a cricket as per se. People ask this question: okay, what happens if India and China go for a war? And in the general perception is China is a superpower, self-declared superpower, or their military is better than Indian army. Now they have better things, and you can call under things. But let me put you into perspective, right? You can compare army or armaments, aircraft, fighter. You just compare everything. But comparing China with India is like comparing with lemon oranges. It's not the same. I tell you why. Because because I spent my 20 years, I exactly know what I'm talking about. It's not somebody sitting and writing a story, right? It's real. It's coming from the real guy who fought Kargil war, who was part of the operations. I know what I'm talking about. So all our equipments, you name it, right? It's made in India by DRDO or in our own HAL or BHEL, BEL or ITI. All our equipments made in India, or we are equipments from USA or Israel, Japan, or Russia. All this is from the countries. Why I'm talking about these countries? Because all these countries got a stringent quality standards. You just cannot produce something and put it in the market. There's so many quality standard process happen before you pass even equipment. When India buys something, there's so many. The process is so long, people don't get even qualified those things because of the stringent process we follow. That means whatever we have, you can guarantee, even including Rafael, right? Rafael was used extensively in all Afghanistan or in the Middle East, in Syria. It tried to tested aircraft. There's absolutely no doubt on the performance of, it's even better than F-16 of US. But now comes to the China. China's army, everything is made in China. Don't forget, everything is made in China. And there is no international agencies or international standard of quality or nothing. China is all about quantity over quality. And that's where the catch. They can produce mass, they can have more equipments, but the quality is like Chinese Diwali crackers, right? It either works or it doesn't work. In engineering term, it's a binary, it's 0 or 1. So, or what happens to Chinese product is use and throw, right? You can't even repair it. Right? So that's a Chinese. So all about your Chinese we're talking about, which is never tested, never qualified, never passed any test. So my point is, don't give too much importance to Chinese product and supremacy, right? it's not today's war is not fought on your strengths and numbers, right? Because you need to trust our armed forces. And if you, and in India, right, I think all of you know that one, people join RN voluntarily. It's not kind of dictators. You just go to the village, tell everyone, okay, from tomorrow onwards, this is a uniform, you are an army. Right? This is voluntary, and people don't make it, right? If you the average number is now, 100 people show up, even less than 5% is the even make it. It's not easy. Even today, it's voluntary. Every process still the same. We have almost 15,000 vacancies in offices. We are not filling it because we are not bypassing our process. That's not the case with China. And let me also give you one more example. India fought in 1962 war, and we lost it, not because of army or our soldiers. And if you read my book, you'll understand, because we have just inherited British army after independence, and going to war with China in 1962 was a definitely great mistake. So I blame the military leadership, even the civilian leadership for the what happened in 1962. But don't forget, 1967, we gave China the biggest reply, which people don't focus too much, but we won 67 war, right? And that's a difference. And even why we talk about India, right? The smallest country like Vietnam beat the hell out of China in a war with China and Vietnam. So it's not about the size, it's not about the strength, it's about the people. The army, right? Indian army, our soldiers, and our Josh and our war cry, and people ready to do anything. It's not Chinese. I think what China is doing, right? People join army, they do nice parade drill. They have Chinese doodles. They enjoy the salary and go retire 30 years. They didn't fire a bullet in 30 years of service. But that's not the case with India, right? It's the contrary. We are always with something. Either we are fighting internal or external. We are always with, you just name it, right? From 60 to 70, 71, then 84. This always, we are all 87 in Sri Lanka. I went to Sri Lanka, then always on a mission. Our people are always on action. So I think, so that's a difference. So, and I can tell you with 100% confidence, it's not about the size of China. It's the Indian Army is one of the best and the finest armies in the world. And I'm not advocating war, right? I'm the last person to say war is the solution. But I think, and I'm very confident. And even so today, it's I think we are our entire Leh is converted into garrison today. We are holding on our post, and we are actually captured 4 more posts in those places, and now we know what's happening on the Ladakh sector. So things changed. So India is not a country of 1962. India changed, and don't forget this one. I think people do this mistake of comparing with, and in terms of demographic dividends, we are talking about 1.35 billion people, which translated to 800 million people below the age of 35. So it's a magical number. We are talking about, so all you need is to channelize your energy of a youth into the right direction and right purpose. And the beauty of India is the greatest nations are built by people, not by leaders. And that's the beauty of, when we talk about India, and so that's the beauty of our people. And so these things give us a confidence and say, I think India can do much better. I don't know how much time I have. Maybe I will last 1 minute. I can I'll summarize the point. So definitely, 200-page book is not possible to finish in 20 minutes. So but definitely, so I couple of in terms of towards the superpower success story. I'm referring in your book, there are 20 different solutions we are talking about and what we have to do. Definitely, I'm talking about now in the ministry called Future of India Ministry, because we need somebody to focus and concentrate on what we want to achieve. India's Aadhaar program is one of the example which we are able to achieve. One of the greatest achievement of last government was getting Aadhaar card for 1.35 billion people. and getting the data and building those data centers, getting those villages where there's not even an internet, getting those fingerprints, getting those all thing. So that project shows us, I think we need, if you need a right person to manage these projects, India can be, and all you need is structural changes. Out of 20 programs, I think one my recommendation I definitely want to recall. So I'm talking about India's problem. I always say it's not more than external; it's internal problem. Our internal problem, and you all agree that our biggest culprits are also our politicians. So, and politicians are backed by our bureaucracy. So I feel what we should do is uh, we should invest and come to a conclusion that all our politicians' children or the bureaucratist children, everyone should only study in government schools, not in private schools, not going to US for treatment. No, only government schools and government hospitals. Today, it's for common man. So they don't even give a damn, right? They don't care about these schools and hospitals. But you make compulsory for politicians and bureaucrat children, I'm telling you, these schools will be a five-star facility in 5 years because their children, their family has to go there. So what happens when you invest on education and healthcare? That's the first step towards the thing. And if possible, I know a lot of people love to join the army because we don't make it. I think we should consider at least minimum 2 years or 3 years service for everyone, every physically able person to serve the army, 2 or 3 years. Guess what? In next 20 years, you'll see peon to a prime minister will be a soldier. Everybody, right? And can you imagine anybody can even think of touching India or looking at India as a thing? We are talking about 1.5 billion people of soldiers of that time. I think it takes time, right? It's evolved, and I think somewhere we need to build. And Israel is an example. It's a small country, but what's the reason for the progress today? And so these are so this are there's so many things. I think I'd like to conclude and say. Uh, and I'm very sure that one last point I want to capture, this book is written for a purpose of a profit. So all the profits from this book will go to pension of mother of a martyrs of Kargil or any other program incidents, because I'm talking about especially the mothers. Because in terms of the benefits, government is, and after Kargil, you know that when after Kargil, everyone realized what army is doing. Government is doing a lot for the family, but what happens, unfortunately, the mother is left out because if somebody dies, right, that wife gets a benefit, and over the period of time, she gets remarried to go, and this mother left alone. And there's so many examples. And so one of the cases I'm referring to in Punjab, this one 80-year-old lady is working as a daily wage laborer in Punjab, and son was, I think he was martyred in Kargil in an IED blast. It's so sad. It's so shameful that 80 years old mother has to work as a daily wager. I think I thought maybe instead of complaining, let's do something for her. And so anything from the profit of this book will go for her as a monthly pension. And all these people, they don't have luxury. All they need is 2 meals a day, not even 3 meals. Right? I think we should take care of those mothers. Why? Because the mother is the one who sent a son to the army, not the wife and not children. The mother, that's where you need to make sure that no mothers should go through this pain of daily wage. I think otherwise people start sending people to the army. I think somewhere government is doing enough, but it's not reaching sometime the people. And so people in the call are in your network. So this is, as my book is launched on 1st of December, and now this is Amazon #1 bestseller in 8 categories, and which is amazing for me. I didn't expect all this when I'm writing book or published, right? All this is news for me. But I think the overall, this is a great response from people, and I'm happy the book is doing well. I'm also planning to make into 3 or 4 other languages. A lot of people asking for Hindi, and a lot of Gujarati. My biggest sale is in Gujarat, surprisingly, for some reason. And people asking me to, I think, translate into Malayalam, Hindi, and Gujarati. So maybe over the period of time, maybe I'm planning to do that one. So last one. So I thank you, Niaz. Thank you, Anil, for this opportunity, and definitely looking forward to joining you guys in the future. And thank you for everyone patiently listening. I know sometimes it's a long story, But it's come from heart. It's not a mind game. It's everything I put from my purely my experience, and it's a very honest and no, it's a blunt. It's not diplomatic for sure. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Dr. Joseph. We had a wonderful evening. The first book was all about, how we can be effective at our work. And the second one was something which would ignite our patriotism and a feeling of love, devotion, and sense of attachment. Wonderful. And we all are looking at, who going to achieve the superpower status. When we look at the infrastructures, when we look at the effective building setup, China is a bit far than India, but when it comes to superior innovative skill and entrepreneurial savvy, India is not at all bad. And India has some unique advantage. Half of its population is under 25, giving it a strong demographic edge. 350 million of Indians understand English, making it the largest English speaking country in the world. And I guess Ankit would have more to say about the economic side of it. When India and China had a financial crisis, both bounced back from it. But China with a lot of huge debt and deflation, where India with a lower debt and modest inflation. Anyhow, wonderful session, Dr. Joseph Thomas.
Thank you, Dinesh.
I request every one of you, I mean, we have just 23 members over here. If it is possible, please come on a video and on a mic, and we're going to have a quick 5 minutes discussion because we were running out of time. Is there anyone who would like to comment? Because I don't want to pull anyone randomly. I would like to have it from your side because we had two amazing books and two amazing speakers this evening. Before I call upon someone, can we have or do I need to call Ankit? Hi, Ankit, Ankit Morakia.
Hey, hi, good evening. Thank you, Dr. Thomas. I guess you tried to encapsulate right from independence till date, the journey it has been. So I guess modern warfare is probably changed to a great extent. It's not just about soldiers on the ground and having the best of arms and ammunition. I believe online warfare or probably COVID is just short of a war. If you look at it that way, if it is really originated from a lab, then it was really probably misused or used in a way they wanted to. So the way things are on the war front, on the army front, I guess things need to be revisited in a very drastic and a different way altogether. And while you highlighted that only the demographics and the points India has, so I've traveled to China also a couple of times, and the difference is it's more of here we have a democratic socialist kind of an attitude, and there it's a capitalist attitude that if this has to be done, this has to be done. So that's the huge difference. So probably the will of the nation needs to change, the political will as well as the will of the people to move towards one direction. Then I don't think anything stops us. So that's my takeaway from the entire talk. And the other book that we reviewed earlier was really wonderful, where it spoke about one quadrant. She's not here. I had a question for her, but maybe next time whenever she's available. But it could give a good perspective of how situations.
Ankit, yeah, you can ask any question.
Lexita is available, Ankit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the context of being a professional across wherever you are, the timelines that you look at while working for a company is very nowadays you don't look at 5 years, 10 years being with a company. So that goes for your boss and for your colleagues and for your people who are working under you. So being in the quadrant that we want to be requires a deeper level of trust. So where do you think how one can develop that from an Indian context?
How one can develop a deeper level of trust from the Indian context. Okay. What truly I believe, Ankit, is that this deeper level of trust, the high level of trust that we are talking about, is based on our intentions that we work from. The accountability and the ownership that we are showing up in our work. So I believe, for example, if my colleague can trust me only when she knows that I'll do this work, or I'll live up to my words, or I'll be available at this particular time, or jab bhi zarurat hogi, maybe that time I'll be there. So, from the Indian context point of view, or maybe in generally, not only Indian context, but for me, that higher level of trust will emerge from the intention, from that, from the person is working from. Yeah, so I don't know, I have answered your question or not, but yeah, so probably then I'll be very much okay to give and take that radically candid feedback and have that conversation to have that level of trust along with that.
Okay. Okay. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ankit. Thank you so much, Lakshita.
Thank you.
Can we have Vantana? Is Vantana there? Vantana and Dr. Preeti Vincent. Before I call Majid Narayan, I would like to have someone as a new face over here. We have
Mr. Piyush in the call. He's also one of the best selling author and
hi
a motivational speaker.
Piyush. Piyush was here.
You should call him for the next
Piyush
round.
now.
I saw him. Okay.
All right, Piyush was here for a while, and I've seen him. I also have a very limited view on this screen. Hi, Pratima, ma'am. Good evening. Pratima, you there?
I'm here.
Right.
Good morning.
Hi. Good morning for you. For us, it's a good evening. How are you, Pratibha? Happy to see you over here.
Thanks. I'm drinking chai. I'm doing well. Thanks.
All right. So thank you so much for being with us. I mean, you mentioned it on Facebook that you would be here, but we thought you would be having some other engagement. But we are so happy to see you over here. Hi, Major Narayan. Are you there? Good evening, Major.
Good evening. Good evening. Let me just join. I'm so happy.
New Year, Major.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
New Year.
May the year 2021 bridge the gap between all our aspirations and accomplishments. Bookery Show is a perfect platform which has been bringing a lot of great speakers, authors, and reviewers to the platform. One need not have to take great pains in reading books. Just attend the Bookery Show, be it Malayalam or the world's oldest language, Tamil, or the language of trade and commerce, nothing but English. You can attend your heart content. And both the reviewers have done phenomenal in-depth analysis into the respective books. One happens to be the author himself, who has crowned himself with glory. Kargil, 1999, July. My unit goes by the name Mashko Warriors. We were the saviors of Mashko. We captured 4875 and the Tiger Hill. I'm from a unit called 17th Battalion Jat Regiment.
That's
and
great, okay.
Yeah, Dr. Joseph Thomas would be able to recollect or recount the glorious traditions of the Jat Regiment. And I'm a proud warrior of Jat Regiment.
Okay.
Yeah,
great,
truly
sir.
an honor to...
Same here. Nice to meet you, sir.
Oh, good. And truly an honor to speak and enjoy being with a fellow army officer, especially a person who had endured the vagaries of the weather at the world's highest battlefield.
Absolutely.
Your examples, your narration, your seamless rendition of the facts and rattling of the figures were all very, very useful to all of us, especially for army veterans like me. And my heart was swelling with pride on knowing the way you've been able to write a book, capture the essence of the life in Kargil, and present it in a very, very simple, jargonless terms, I should say. In such a way, even for a layman to be able to understand very, very easily. Kudos to you, Dr. Joseph Thomas, for having enlivened all of us and taken us to the icy heights of Kargil. Truly an honor to be there. Truly an honor to be part of the Bookery Show and listen to you also. The first speaker gave us a lot of examples from management jargons, like ruinous, that is the great candor, I should say, that is holding on, that is the ruinous empathy, radical candor, and obnoxious aggression, and manipulative insincerity. I had made note of most of our slides, and one has to go through those books more over and over again in order to absorb. But the way that she was able to speak and then carry the essence in an encapsulated form, that immediately made the assimilation very, very easier. Kudos to both of you. And she had a lot of exhaustive terms to start with. And the way Dr. Joseph started with gratitude, changing of the mindset, and abundance. Never think about what you lack, think of what you have. These are all evergreen topics, I should say. And both the speakers did great justice to the chosen job at hand. And I do look forward to listening to yet another great speakers in the coming weeks as well. I always round off the review. Nias and Anil Thomas have been very, very kind to allow me the last space to review the reviewers. And this week also has been a phenomenal review, I should say. Thank you, Anil. Thank you, Nias. Thank you, Joseph Thomas, and the first speaker as well. And all credit goes to our one and only Faisal Ibrahim. So 2021, I look forward to a lot of great reviews from the eBookery show. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Major. We always have last vision for you, because after your review, nobody would be there to give a review. You would just steamroll everyone. All right, I was just kidding. Anyhow, it's been truly a wonderful session that we had. We had two beautiful speakers, two beautiful books. So just to say our gratitude, I would like to welcome Sanish Babu. Sanish, are you there? Yes, I can see you now. I'm putting in a spotlight to everyone.
Thank you, Nias. Thank you for the opportunity. 2021 has an amazing start. As we know now, like we had two amazing books being reviewed. The first book, there was a technical glitch, but what came to my mind was the Powerpuff Girls. They just stole the show and stole the whole, platform and gave an amazing review. Major Narayanan has already did my job by explaining everything what they have told, so I don't have to go back to that again. And kudos to Dr. Joseph, who has given an amazing review and a brilliant book that he has written. We are all looking forward to reading it and understand what his perspectives are about the growing India, which will be a superpower very soon. Thank you on behalf of eBookery. Once again, we are a very limited number of people uh, arranging this event every week. And we look forward to all of you who have joined today to come again week after week and make this 2021 a very productive and informative year for everyone, so that we can join hands and make eBookery a superpower in 2021. Thank you very much. Thank you for being with us, and we hope to see you every week at 5 p.m. Dubai time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sanish. You look really smart on that black color attire. So guys, once again, we repeat, it's a shared responsibility of everyone. It is not a sole responsibility of Anil Thomas or a Sanish Babu or a Sapna George to take this eBookery to the next level. It's a responsibility of everyone out here. So, take your part in as a leader and take this eBookery to your friends and families and whoever you think would be interested in such kind of an activities. So once again, thank you to each and everyone out here. A special thanks goes to Dr. Joseph Murphy, Dr. Joseph Thomas, and Hiral and Alexida. You did a wonderful job, no doubt on it. So we're gonna have two more books for next week. So I just would like to have a quick look at it. Anil sir, is it ready?
Yes, it's already in the slides. Okay. Yeah. Suresh, can you play it on?
Sorry. What is it? Hello?
Can anyone run next week
the next
session
week
poster?
speakers.
Yeah. Okay, just a moment.
Next week sessions. Yeah.
We are just 14 members over here. Whoever it's possible, please come on video. We would like to see your handsome face and beautiful faces. We're gonna wind up in another 5 minutes time. Hi, Ankit, unveiled. No way, lol, did you share the screen?
Just- Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Very much. So we got 2 speakers for next week with the power of awareness, Kavita Ramachand and Nahid Khan with the leader who had no title, Robin Sharma. I guess most of you must have read the book, The Leader Who Had No Title. I'm not sure about the power of awareness. Even I mean, for me, it's completely new, but I really look forward to having it. So guys, do not miss this opportunity. This poster is already ready over here. So this would be shared in our group, both in the lead group and guest group. Please share with as many as possible, your friends, family, and we need to have maximum number of people. It is not just a 14 or 15 or 30. We need to have it. We need to have at least 50 members, participants in every meeting of us. Then the meeting definitely would be more conversational. It will be more interesting, entertaining. It will be more fun. So anything else, you guys are free to unmute yourself and speak here. And if you have any suggestions, if you have any advice, how we can take this one into the next level, please unmute yourself and, share with us. Do not keep a distance with us saying that I'm your follower. No, you are not a follower. You are all leaders of this clan.
We should have a discussion probably how to make e-bookery superpower in 2021 or the first quarter.
Pratibha ma'am, are you there, Pratibha? Pratibha Day?
Hey, yes, I'm here.
We would like to see your face.
No, I just woke up.
All right, that's fine.
But I will
And
be here next week. The by Neville Goddard, I just bought the collection as well, so that's awesome.
Wonderful. So we would
Thank
like to see
you.
you next week as well, Pratibha here.
Yeah, is it 8 a.m. EST? Because I thought it started at 8:30 today. That's why I came on.
Yeah, I saw that you came after the first session, so I thought you had some other engagement.
No, I was sleeping. It's morning.
All right, great. And we
Thanks.
saw Aruna here. Aruna, are you here for the first time? And Lexita, we would like to hear from you before I go to Joseph Thomas to share his experience on eBookery. Lexita, are you there?
Hello.
Yes, Lexita.
Yeah. Hi, Nias. Yeah. No, it was my experience you're talking about, right? I'm sorry. Actually, there's a glitch in between. Yeah. So my experience, of course, was really good. For the first time, I really experienced an ebook review. Of course, in our trainings and in our activities, in our professional work, we do a lot of book reviews, but there's this quick 2 minutes, 5 minutes. But this, along with a set of such professional, wonderful people to have their insights and to share our part of learnings, it was really wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lexida. We would like to see you on every week here, along with your other, the friends.
Sure, 100%. Thank you.
Hi, Dr. Joseph Thomas. You have given us a wonderful, session. In between, we felt like we wanted to say Bharat Mata Ki Jai. So, how has been your experience with the eBookery team?
No, I think so. We are actually in touch with Anil from quite maybe a month, but so last 1 week or so, I checked your YouTube channel multiple sessions. So I feel I'm part of this team at least, and I also know that okay, sometimes I feel like why the hell I didn't join before. And I think I missed a lot of a great opportunity. Beautiful thing here is it's all like-minded people, right? People who either love books, it's a different mindset altogether. And when you're in the company of this thing, so. And I'm also writing next to books, and definitely every session I come, there's a lot of learning from everyone else. I think every session, there's a lot of takeaways. And even for me, it's a meeting Major Narayan sir is a wonderful thing because I think you guys have no idea what he's talking about at Mushka Valley and all that. It's you just and I can tell you that, and I think where you're sitting in now Jan 2nd, and so it's kind of all these places are minus, it goes to minus 40. Nothing works, or other than the snow, this nothing works. You don't see anything. There's no vegetation, there's nobody to talk. And here we spend 2 hours without realizing it, and you can't even spend 10 minutes there. Every minute, every second talk to you when it goes, this doesn't move. And so today maybe things are better. So I'm talking about 20 years back when we both are there. So it's nice to see the snow in the movie, and people say, "Wow!" I'm telling you, it's not in real life. If you're there I was there for 3 years, and I have no idea what you're talking about, right? And if you get a chance to read my book, and I'll share my link later. We used to go to clean the Leh airport. Now you're cleaning the airport runway before 5 a.m. so that the flights can come and land. And I think it sounds very simple. I think you should read my book and say what it takes to clean the runway without nothing. We don't have like great equipments or like Europe, right? All you have is a shovel, right? That's all we have, and that's how our people do that, man. That's why I told our Indian Army can do anything. And so you don't cry that we don't have a tractor and European equipments to clean. All you need is people with a Josh, and you tell them this is the thing. 5 a.m. you have to finish it. They finish it, and you'll make sure the flight will land. And that's our people. And so I'm sure it's great to meet sir as well, because I was part of. Because after this team left and installed, we sat in these places like in Tiger Hill, Dras, in Mushka Valley, and Tololing. I think sir will know all this what name I'm talking about. I installed everywhere. So the difference is in 20 years back, these people used to take kind of months to talk to Delhi because there's no communication. But today they can call Delhi directly, thanks to my network. And I'm so happy that God given this opportunity for me to install something, the legacy. People can call Delhi today just as a local call, and you don't get this opportunity, right? I think how many people get this opportunity? I'm so blessed. I had part of this one. And it's always nice to interact and talk to. I was part of this Grenadiers team who captured those places. So in one of he's a brigadier now. We united him for a school function. He was a Grenadier C at the time. So we're still continuing the relationship. That's the beauty of our army life. Army, once you're army, you're family for life. So you're beyond the friends, more than friends. It's a life. It's a friend. It's a family for us. And it's very emotional. Like what he's telling is a very emotional connect, and for us, that's what makes our breed different. And it's wonderful. Again, I thank Anil, especially after me, and I realize that what I missed, and I can promise you that I will not miss again. I will be part of this team. I will do everything possible to make sure we spread this to the larger audience. At least Nayas, I'll make sure that at least 50 people will join, at least some from my network at least. I think it's worth spending time. I think it's worth. I salute you guys and a wonderful job.
Thank you so much, Dr. Joseph Thomas. That was a word from a soldier. Definitely, we can bank on it. So, guys, we are gonna wind up for the day. Please be with us on next Saturday, and in between a Friday we have a Malayalam. So in between we have a Tamil as well. So be part of it. Thank you so much once again. See you all on next Saturday. Till then, bye. Take care.
Bye bye.
Take care.